Welcome, SOCOM athletes. My name's Amanda Larson-Meckler. I'm a wellness coach with SOCOM. I've been practicing yoga for almost 20 years and teaching for the last 13 or 14. I've taught all over the world in Southeast Asia, India, Greece, and now I'm super happy to bring these practices to you here today. We'll be moving through a restorative yoga practice that's all on your back. So this is really accessible to however you're feeling any day. We'll target a few major parts of the body, and this is a great practice to bring in when you're just feeling like you need a little restoration, or even before you go to bed at night to kind of set yourself up to start to slow down. So for this practice, all you'll need is a pillow, preferably if you have something that's extra long, like a king-size pillow, or you could use two pillows and kind of stack them one next to the other. You'll also want to have a strap. If you have a yoga strap, that's great, but you could also use a belt, a tie, anything that's long enough that you'll be able to hold it in both hands and loop it around the bottom of your foot. So this entire practice will be on our back, so you just want to have somewhere comfortable to lie down. Keep all of those things, the pillow and the strap, close enough that you'll be able to reach them. And to protect your lower back when you roll down, keep your feet planted, hold on to the backs of your legs, and unroll all the way down to the ground. So we'll start with the feet planted a little bit wider than your hips. And as you walk the feet out a little bit wider, just let your knees drop in toward one another. That'll create a little bit of a release for the lower back and for the psoas. You could either let your hands rest on your belly or take your arms kind of out to a T with the palms facing up to open up your chest. And then take a moment either to find a point on the ceiling where you can gently keep your eyes still, or just gently close your eyes, whichever feels comfortable. And to begin, we'll just take several breaths here to kind of get present right in this space. So notice first if you need to make any little adjustments, if you feel like your feet landed a little asymmetrical, or if it feels good to tuck your shoulder blades underneath you. And then through your nose, start to take a big inhale all the way down toward your belly. Really fill up with breath. And just take an open mouth exhale, sigh it out. Again, through your nose, big inhale, take in a little more air at the top of the breath. And open mouth exhale, let it go. One more like that through your nose, inhale. And really sigh it out, exhale. This time, take an inhale through your nose, just notice the length of your breath. And now through your nose, take the same length exhale. And see if you can continue like that, however long your inhale is. Take that same length exhale. And if possible, keep the breath in and out your nose. If for any reason that feels uncomfortable, you can find the breath through your mouth instead. But paying attention to this steady breath is just a way to kind of stay present for this practice. So if you notice you get a little distracted, see if you can come back to just noticing really steady breath in. And same length exhale. And take one more deep breath at your pace. And on your next inhale, gently start to bring your knees in toward your chest and just place your hands on top of your knees. We'll find a gentle movement here to help release the lower back. So as you inhale, start to bring your knees away from your chest. Just let your arms straighten. Keep the back of your head on the ground. As you exhale, put a little bend in your elbows to hug your knees in toward your chest. And we'll follow that with the breath. So as you inhale, bring your knees away from your chest. Let your arms straighten. Exhale, gently draw your knees in as far as feels comfortable, but without straining. Inhale, let your knees move forward. Use your whole exhale, draw the knees in. And really follow the breath. So use your whole inhale, send your knees away from your chest. Your whole exhale, gently draw knees back in. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, gently send the knees forward. And exhale, gently draw your knees back in. And with your next inhale, let your feet plant onto the ground. Then walk your feet all the way out and extend your arms all the way overhead. Take a moment to really inhale, stretch through your fingertips. On your exhale, start to walk your heels over toward the left, and then you'll take your arms and also move them over toward the left. You can also adjust the back of your head a little bit, kind of scooting over. So you're just walking arms and legs to the left to the point that you feel a stretch on your right side. So you're just getting a little bit of sensation on that right side of the rib cage. You also might feel it a little bit through the right side of the belly. And then once you feel that sensation, see if you can let everything soften a little bit toward the ground. So if there's any tension in your ankles or your knees, see if you can let that soften. Could also take your right hand and put it on top of your left, or even hold on to that right hand with your left hand to get a little deeper stretch. And then think of your inhale really filling up that right side of your body. And see if with the exhale, you can let your rib cage kind of drop down toward the ground a little bit, soften your face. Take 2 more big deep breaths. And then next, inhale, slowly start to walk your feet and your arms back, stretch through the fingertips and the toes. Exhale, this time over toward the right. So you can walk the heels over toward the right, walk the arms a little bit to the right. And again, if it feels good to kind of pick up your head and scoot it a little bit to the right, just going to the point, you don't have to be too extreme about it, just to the point where you feel some stretch on your left side body now. And on this side, if you want to take the left hand and put it on top of the right, or even hold on to that left hand with your right hand, you can. And see if you have space to kind of soften a little. So again, if moving into this position brought some tension into your legs or your arms, see if you can relax a little bit toward the ground. And in all of these postures, you could keep your eyes still, kind of looking at the ceiling, or if it feels good to close your eyes for a couple breaths, go for it. And see if you can take those deep inhales into the left side of your body. And on the exhale, think of just letting your rib cage kind of drop down to the ground a little bit more. Couple more deep breaths, really filling up that left side of the body, softening on your exhale. 1 more breath at your pace. And with the inhale, walk your feet back towards center, reach up through the fingertips. As you exhale, just let your belly button drop down to your spine. So use your core to slide your feet in, wrap your hands around your knees. Give yourself a little gentle rock side to side. Then keep your knees into your chest. Just take your arms, open them all the way out to a T. You could either face the palms up or down. See what feels good for your shoulders, whichever one has less tension. Take a big inhale breath. And then exhale, let your knees drop over toward the left. And as your knees go to the left, if you find that they don't quite touch the ground, you could grab that pillow and bring the pillow right underneath your knees. Or if there's any tension in the lower back, you could instead take that pillow and bring it in between your knees. That'll help bring a little bit of support for the lower back. And if you're feeling like in this pose you need a little bit deeper twist, that bottom hip, your left hip, can scoot underneath you a little bit, so you can kind of roll the left hip under to get deeper into the twist. And then notice if you can keep your shoulders grounded. If you want to bring just a gentle twist to your neck, turn your head to look toward your right hand. And then even with this twist in your spine, can you still take inhales all the way down toward your belly and really steady, even exhales. A couple more deep breaths on this side. Continue to let your shoulders soften down toward the ground. 1 more big exhale. And gently on your inhale, start to bring your knees back towards center. We'll take the other side. So as you exhale, knees over to the right side this time. It's normal if one side feels different than the other. So on this side, if it feels like you want something under your knees or between your knees, you can grab that pillow for a little bit of support. Be mindful to keep your shoulders grounded. So if it feels like your shoulders have lifted up, give your legs some support so that left shoulder can stay on the ground. And on this side, either gaze right up toward the ceiling, or if you want a little twist in your neck, turn your head toward your left hand. And on this side, see if you can send breath all the way down toward the belly as you inhale, and take those same length exhales. If you want a little bit deeper twist for the last few breaths, take that bottom hip, your right hip, just scoot it underneath you a little bit more to twist deeper. Let's soften through your shoulders and the back of your head. 2 more deep breaths. Next inhale, start to bring your legs back towards center. Then you can hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little rock side to side. Then gently plant your feet on the mat so that your knees point up. You can also keep that pillow close by for this next one in case you want any support for your head. If it feels like your neck needs a little more support, you could bring that pillow right behind your head. With your feet planted and knees pointing up, take your right ankle, bring it onto your left thigh. So with the right ankle at the left thigh, start to open your right knee away from your chest. And right here, you might already feel some sensation through your right hip or your right outer glute. You can pause right there if you already feel enough sensation. If you don't feel anything in that right hip or glute yet, you can take your left foot, pick it up so that you bring your left shin parallel toward the ground. And then you can use your hands to get a little bit deeper into this stretch. So right hand kind of goes through that triangle, left hand from the outside, hold behind your left knee. And if you still need a little bit more, you can use your right elbow to press your right knee away from you. If at any point you start to feel like you've added on to this pose and it's too much, you can come back to left foot planted. Just let the right knee gently open forward. And if you are in that level of the pose, hands could either rest on your belly or arms out to a T, whatever feels comfortable. And see if you can find either that one point on the ceiling to gently rest your eyes on or let your eyes close. Just taking a couple more deep breaths on this side. See if the exhales can soften maybe the space between your eyebrows or even soften the tips of your fingers or your toes. Take one more deep breath. And gently plant your right foot on the mat, so both feet planted, knees point up. This time take your left ankle, bring it onto your right thigh. Then start by opening the left knee away from your chest. And again, you might feel enough here. One side might be different than the other. So on this side, kind of see how it goes. It's normal if you feel more tension on one than the other. If you need a little deeper stretch, take your right foot, pick it up so that you start to press your shin toward your chest. And then if you want to use your hands to help with the stretch, right hand from outside the right leg, left hand goes through the middle to hold behind your knee. And if you do use your hands to reach forward, make sure your shoulders and the back of your head stay on the ground or that the back of your head is on a pillow so you're not adding any strain through your upper body. And again, if you notice that that gets to be too much, you can come back to the right foot planted and place your hands however they feel comfortable. And it's normal if the hips are somewhere where you store a lot of tension, so especially see if you can come back to those really steady inhales, same length exhales. A few more deep breaths, see if you can soften any tension from your jaw. Notice if you can let your shoulders drop down toward the ground a little bit more. Take one more deep breath at your pace. And gently take your left foot, plant it on the mat so your knees point up. Then take both knees and hug them into your chest. Give yourself a little bit of a rock side to side. And plant your feet on the mat and take your strap. You'll just want to find kind of the middle of that strap. And then take your right knee, hug your knee in toward your chest so that you can loop the ball of your right foot in that strap just beneath your toes. Start to extend your right leg up to the sky, but only take your hands to the point where you can keep a bend in your elbows. So rather than reaching as high as you possibly can on the strap, drop your hands down to the point where your shoulders stay on the ground, where there's a little bend in your elbows. You can also keep a slight bend in your knees. So you just want to go to the point where you feel enough sensation in your right hamstring. And if you need a little bit more, start to send your right toes toward your kind of back of your space. So like you're reaching those toes back toward your head. If you need a little more sensation, you could also take your left foot and rather than keeping it planted, walk it out long on the ground. And then here as well, notice if your shoulders or your head start to come off the ground, let shoulders drop down, let your head soften toward the ground or onto the pillow. And if there is a lot of sensation in your hamstring, think of sending the breath to the belly, or even imagine that your breath could go all the way to that right hamstring. See if you can slow down your exhale. Couple more deep breaths on this side. And on your next inhale, gently rebend your right knee. And let the strap go on that side, plant your right foot. Take your left knee, hug it into your chest, and take that strap just below your toes, so right around the ball of your left foot. Start to extend your left leg. Again, you might pause with the left knee still bent or straighten the left leg. Only walk your hands to the point where you can comfortably keep a slight bend in your elbows and where your shoulders are on the ground. And then use that grip on the strap to gently just pull your toes back until you get to the point where you feel enough sensation in that left hamstring. And usually that point is where you feel some discomfort, but it hasn't turned into anything sharp. So if it feels really sharp or you're clenching your jaw or scrunching up your face, that usually means you've gone a little bit too far. So just to the point where you feel sensation, but you can still find really steady breath. And if you feel like you need a little more sensation, continue to pull your foot a bit more toward your head, or play with extending your right leg all the way out on the ground. And come back to that really steady inhale toward the belly. Same length exhale. And take a couple more deep breaths. See if your shoulders and the back of your rib cage can melt down to the ground a bit more. And with your next inhale, gently bend your left knee, let the strap go, plant your left foot, and then as you drop the strap off to the side, you can bring both knees back into your chest, give yourself another little movement side to side, or you could even make some circles with your knees, just letting those last couple poses go. And for our last pose, we'll use the pillow to set up a little bit of a chest opener. So for this one, you can either roll to one side or use your elbows to gently press yourself up. You'll take the pillow or a couple pillows in a row and lay it behind you the long way so that you can sit down right in front of that pillow. And then as you lie back, you'll keep your hips on the ground, but lie back so that the rest of your spine and the back of your head is supported. So this will create a little bit of lift through your chest. You can let your arms open up to a T with the palms facing up. If that feels a little bit too intense, hands can come more down by your sides, or hands can even come onto your belly. And then any setup of your legs that feels comfortable. So you could simply keep your feet planted, point your knees up. You could also go back to kind of how we started with the feet a little wider than your hips, drop your knees in toward one another. Or if you prefer to stretch your legs out, you can extend your legs out all the way and just keep your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Let your toes kind of flop out away from one another. And either take your gaze onto one point on the ceiling or let your eyes gently close. So most of the day we spend kind of time hinged forward. So this opening through the chest can kind of be a counter pose to a lot of the other postures that we take throughout the day. But it's also normal if that opening through the chest kind of brings up sensations or even makes your mind busy. So see if you can come back to that steady breath all the way down toward the belly. And then really find same length exhale. And even if the mind does get a little bit busy, just notice that that happens, but bring it back to the breath. Notice where you feel the inhale, maybe moving toward your belly. And then can you slow down your exhale? And this can be a great pose to stay in for a couple more minutes if you have the time. So give yourself as much time as you can to continue to rest here. Thank you so much for taking the time to kind of get a little bit of movement and restoration in, and give yourself as much time as you can to pause here and be still and breathe.